The first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs on Comcast Sportsnet is presented by Volvo. A marquee matchup. The Islanders have returned to Verizon Center with their emotions skyrocketing to face the Capitals, who have home ice advantage back on their side for Game 5 of the Eastern Conference first round. Bringing them in by the busload. Caps fans eager to see Joel Ward bracing for a big showdown and riding on the big line with Nicklas Backstrom. It is so great to see you again. Along with Craig Laughlin, I'm Joe Beninati. We'll let Al Koken join the conversation pretty soon. Few things in sport can match the intensity of a Stanley Cup playoff overtime. Nicklas Backstrom just warms to the occasion.
Yeah, some people wilt under the pressure of the Stanley Cup players. Others excel. Nick Backstrom is the latter in overtime. April 17, 2010 versus the Habs. Snaps one past Halak. April 14, 2012 versus the Boston Bruins. Watch at the top of the circle. He rifles one past Tim Thomas in overtime. And then Tuesday on the island, just over 11 minutes into the overtime frame, he walks the top of the circle. John Tavares drops his twig because it was broken and just fires it at the net. A seeing eye puck gives the Caps the win.
So, Locker, among active players, Nick keeps select company.
Yeah, up there with Yager, Marlowe, St. Louis, and Kane for a piece. Backstrom with 3. He's the only Cap with 3 overtime winners in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
The Capitals came home with a split from games 3 and 4 on Long Island, and one of the primary reasons why was Braden Holtby in the goal.
Fantastic, brilliant, outstanding. The last 2 games, 76 saves on 79 shots. In the series, Braden is sporting a .943 save percentage and is the only goalie in the NHL that has been perfect when on the penalty kill. Mitch Korn says he's using his body more than his limbs. Pucks are hitting him. That means good angles, proper positioning. He's square to the shooter, and he's been very aggressive in this series. Brilliant goaltending.
Holtby put these words on what part of his game gets challenged the most in the postseason.
I think the main challenge is the emotional side. There's a lot of different emotions in practice or in playoffs that make it more challenging to keep your in control. I have my level of emotion that I like to stay at in order to be successful, and you just kind of take it that day, see what it's like, see what the crowd is like, the game is like, and try and make it so you're finding that sweet spot in mentality.
The Islanders present Holtby and the Caps with a lot of challenges, most notably through 4 games, the play of their over-caffeinated fourth line.
And I'm going to anoint them their number 1 line. They've been that good. Cizikas, Clutterbuck, and Martin. They have had the most chances of any Islander line in this series. They've been together for the majority of the season. They're 3 wild bulls roaming the ice. They hit you, they hurt you, they get in on the forecheck. When the Islanders need a lift or a momentum shift, this is the trio that gets a call. Capuano says they play the right way. That's why they're successful.
This threesome has chipped in a whole bunch in the last week.
2 goals, 2 assists, 4 points. Joe B averaging 5 shots a game, 66 hits, and playing very disciplined, not taking dumb or retaliatory penalties.
The Islanders also like the way Kyle Oposo has performed in this series. The talented winger tries to outshine Alex Ovechkin. When we return, we'll discuss these two on Comcast Sportsnet. Game 5 of the Eastern Conference first round. Fans making way into Verizon Center. The Islanders and Capitals will break this 2-2 series tie. There will be plenty of examples of skill, speed, and strength in this game, Locker. Odds are they'll come from Alex Ovechkin and Kyle Oposo.
2 really great power forwards. Oposo 6', 217, OV 6'3", 230. Couple of goals from each of these guys. They have identical numbers through 4 games. They're big guys with great mix, great speed, and can pound the puck as well as the man. They're on display here in Game 5.
Our Star Track presented by Toyota, and it stays trained on these 2 rugged wingers.
For Oposo, he finished second to Tavares in the regular season, 51 points in 60 games. In the playoffs, he's 2+1, averaging close to 19 minutes. On the Capital side, it's a captain, 64 points in 62 playoff games, 17 hits this series, second best to Orpik, 23 shots, averaging about 2 minutes more than Kyle.
Snap to it. Everyone in D.C. is ready to dance to the playoff beat. Those who stand to salute the Capitals know their efforts are much needed tonight. New York and Washington. Game 5, alive next. Rebound, score! Alex Ovechkin on the follow-up. Backstrom up the gut to score! Backstrom absorbs the bump from Tavares. Tavares dropped his stick. Wrist shot coming, score! Nicklas Backstrom and the Capitals have tied this series. Game 4 of this series, not for the faint of heart. Game 5 definitely going to test your ticker too. Along with the faithful inside of Verizon Center. And with Nicklas Backstrom, it's the NHL on Comcast Sportsnet. Joe Beninati, Craig Lachlan, Al Koken with you. The captains, Tavares and Ovechkin, are set. The net-minding matchup is all lockers, and it's presented by Volvo.
And no changes, Joe B. Halak goes for the Islanders. He's 2-2, 1.92, 930. For the Capitals, Braden Holtby, he was brilliant on the island. He's 1-2, goals against below Halak's save percentage right near the top in the National Hockey League among all netminders in the postseason. It's a beautiful thing here tonight, a great battle. The Caps have home ice here at Verizon Center.
Braden looks like he's feeling his frisky self as we settle in for Game 5. The on-ice officials, referees are Frederick Lecuyer and Chris Rooney. Ryan Galloway, Steve Miller have the lines. Niskanen will turn away from Anders Lee. Jack Capuano's been shuffling up the deck offensively for his club in the last couple of days. We'll see if those line changes hold throughout. Capitals here in red. You're seeing Barry Trotz's formation at the top of the screen. Defense pairings too. As Chimera tiptoes into the offensive zone, Curtis Glencross once again the healthy scratch up front. Eric Fair getting closer as this wrister from Orpik is gobbled up by Halak. And then right away, we have pleasantries.
Well, the Islanders unhappy that OV was trying to get his stick between the pads to nudge that puck free. He saw some daylight there and saw the puck laying there as DeHaan and company go to the aid of their goaltender. Good start for the Caps, getting shots on the net. Trotz has been preaching this from Game 1. We need more pucks to the net. Halak, a real strong saves early in this hockey game. Here comes OV right out of the bench on a line change. Watch him dart right to the net. Net presence, and the puck was loose for a fraction of a second. A good quick counter there by the Caps.
I hear you, I hear Alan May, I hear Brent Johnson, all of our analysts saying pucks and players to the net. Good example there, 39 seconds in.
Alex Ovechkin, 64 points now in 61 playoff games. Impressive numbers for the Capitals captain.
Backstrom winning around 57% of his draws in the series. Gets control of that one with the help of Joel Hoare. Alsner will switch it up for Niskanen. Backstrom returns it to the veteran blue liner. He was occupied by Kulemin. And the Islanders will sprint back through center. Jack Capuano's lines at the top of the screen. The back line will be missing the veteran Lubomir Wisnowski, injured by that Tom Wilson hit in Game 4. Just getting going with the series tied up at 2 apiece. Back in Washington, Ovechkin works the flank. A backhander right to the chest of Halak, and he'll squeeze.
That was a good tester there, and it all starts in a very good breakout. The Capitals want to utilize their speed wide against the defenseman for the Islanders, trying to help out Halak. Alex Ovechkin, another good chance early on in this first period, showing great legs and great speed. If you're a Caps fan, you like to see that. Barry Trotz looking to take advantage of home ice here tonight.
16 seasons as a bench boss. You see the career playoff record now with Nashville and Washington. Jack Capuano taking notes on the New York side. Get a whistle here right off the draw. Referee Lecuyer looking up at the scoreboard clock and staying at the timekeeper's bench for a brief moment. They'll put it back in play to the right of Halak. Brooks Laich ready to take this draw for Washington, and Cizikas beat him to the punch. Cizikas at center, swats it in back behind Holtby's crease. A turning Green is there, sidestepping a guided missile named Matt Martin. Martin's feed for Cizikas is a bad pass, and the Capitals will sprint back in the other direction. Brouwer rubbed out along the boards right into the linesman. Brouwer, undaunted, going to the corner with Boychuk. Troy Brouwer feeds for Green. Long wrister on the way that was deadened in front. And Leddy will help clear for New York. Cal Clutterbuck, who scored in Game 2 in this series in this barn. The Islanders stole home ice in Game 1. Washington rallied in Game 2. And then the two teams would split overtime affairs on Long Island. Ward knifing to the middle, and a good pad save there by Halak.
That's a real good one there. He threw that left pad out to deny Ward. Ward's fit in well. He's got better and better as this series went along. Nice isolation of Alex Ovechkin. There he is being hounded along the wall. Blows right past Reinhart, the young defenseman, inserted into the lineup. And there's the hustle to the net. You know Alex is on his game when he's moving his feet. Reinhart inserted for Wisniewski. They're going to try to take advantage of a youngster who only has 8 games of NHL experience.
21-year-old Griffin Reinhart, British Columbia native, 4th overall draft pick for the Islanders back in the summer of 2012. Son of former NHLer Paul. Orpik towards the goal, high and wide. Nikolai Kulemin bangs it off the dasher. Backstrom covering up at the point. South of the goal line for Ovechkin. Greeted there by DeHaan. Topside, Carlson fires. That was blocked. It hit traffic in front. Ward peels off the thing. Joel Ward with assists in each of the last 2 games. Fires! And Halak squeezes at the post.
I like the attack angles the Caps are taking in this period. All 4 shots have been pretty sharp when it comes to the angles, and all from the same side. Here comes Wardo, great puck protection, waiting for everybody in front to be picked up. And that's a sneaky shot. They're making Halak have to earn his money here early in this first period. Some toughies. Look at that puck laying there right on the goal line, Joe, trying to get him to lean just a little bit.
How difficult is it to elevate that shot? We've been asking for high shots on Halak. That's got to be a tough one there.
It is.
For Joel.
Sharp angle. Very tough.
A win of the draw for Kuznetsov. Back to point position for Karl Alsner. Kuznetsov, Chimera, Johansson out there as a trio. Niskanen towards the cage. The ricochet right to the waiting Russian center. It bounced past him, and the Islanders will exit the zone. Kennedy on the fly. A snapshot and a good stick save there for Braden Holtby to get him in the game. First shot for the Isles coming around the 3-minute mark. Kennedy lurking, a centering pass that was gobbled up and swiftly through center. It's Johansson on the lead for Chimera. Good poke check though by Leddy on the rush.
You've got to be a great skater if you can recover like that. Number 2 for the Islanders, we've seen him all series, is just that. He's an excellent skater. How about that matchup? Leddy versus Chimera. When it comes to skating, you're not going to see a better matchup than that.
Put them on the track together.
Yeah, absolutely.
Leddy's feed off the boots of Bailey. Orpik trickles it along for Backstrom. A deft touch there from Nicholas as Ward lost his balance. Orpik fires, an easy stop there for Jaro Halak. The Capitals have 5 of the first 6 shots on goal in the game. At the attacking line, Washington will make the strip. Oposo goes after Orpik.
And it's the same mentality for the Islanders. They know they're coming into a hostile environment. They want to survive the first 10 minutes here.
Backstrom on a feed. Carlson fires. Armed away by Halak. Locker there was that nice chip play through center. Working in, Islanders on the counterpunch to the front. Holtby gets the blocker there on Oposo. The Capitals have been talking about making those little bump passes through center to thwart the Islanders' neutral zone formation, and we saw a real good opportunity result.
That's that left wing lock, and if you can chip it by one guy who's not a defenseman, you're often going to beat him to the corner, or you're going to beat him wide. You've got to chip to yourself or chip to a teammate to have an opportunity. Some good action at both ends of the ice here in the first period. A lot of good opportunity. Here's that chip, Joe. Orpik to Carlson, and watch the indirect. Off the wall to center to the tap to the middle with speed. That breaks in the Caps 3-on-2. And notice who's joining the rush. That's the Capitals defense. Up the other way. Here come the Islanders. Again, a good net drive. Very good stop there on the redirect. Good opportunity for the Islanders jumping into play. Oposo is a big rig, like an 18-wheeler. We highlighted them as Oposo and Ovechkin as ones to watch here tonight.
The 27-year-old Oposo is a threat each and every time on the ice. He's had 9 quality scoring chances in this series. He scored in games 2 and 3. Approaching the 5-minute mark, scoreless in game 5 here in Washington. On the run, it's Beagle with a backhand that floats wide of the goal. Green steps in from point position on the overlap. Snapshot coming, blocked. Islanders corral the rebound. Grabowski feeds to Kuhlman, and then Strome. Strome lets it go, and a pad save for Holtby. He pulled the string there. That was a change-up shot.
Yeah, Cap's lucky there, Joe, because that was a 3-on-1. Talk about a quick breakout. There you see their speed that they just showed us most of this series. They beat 3 different Caps on one pass coming down to their zone.
Fans acknowledging the net minding of Braden Holtby as he's turned away his first 3 salvos. Orpik was slow. Light down the flank. Lee and Wilson have the gloves off. Anders Lee and Tom Wilson are throwing. And Lee is receiving.
He sure is. Big Willie and the fans on their feet here in the first period. Wilson trying the haymaker, and Lee takes him down. And obviously Wilson was going to be a marked man after that hit on Wisnowski. He was the villain on the island. He's a hero here in Washington. The big fella gets involved on both sides. Anders Lee and Wilson will get matching 5-minute majors.
Caps fans roaring their approval. We can look back at how it all evolved.
Yeah, top of the screen, right at center ice now, pushing and shoving. Couple of cross checks left side of the screen. And there they go. The drop of the mitts means they're going toe-to-toe. Maybe a couple landed. That one just right off the side of the face of Lee. Lee's not known to be a fighter, Joe. He has great size. Willie, one of the penalty minute leaders around the National Hockey League.
Tom Wilson, 4th in the NHL when it comes to PIMs. Wilson, though, with palms raised, he might be getting an additional minor, and what for? As he continues to question the officials. The referees tonight are Frederick Lecuyer and Chris Rooney.
Here's an isolation of Tom Wilson along the wall. There's a little shot, but both guys hacking, whacking, chopping, and then they drop the mitts and go. Capuano is still talking to the referee at the Islander bench as they go toe-to-toe. And they want an explanation here. Capuano's getting one from the referee. Wilson needs his other mitt that was in the Islander bench. It looks like we're going to have 5-on-5.
5 each for fighting against Lee and Wilson. No additional minors were given out.
That was a social call at the bench, that's all.
Nicholas Backstrom returns to the dot. Wins the draw from John Tavares, and we continue a spirited first period with the NHL on CSN. Tavares to the front, looking for a Poso, and Backstrom was on guard. Carlson there to assist. The two teams are skating 5-on-5. Washington doubling up New York. Shots on goal. 6-3 to this point. Leddy pinched in from point position. Good setup there for Bailey. He rockets to score. Through the screen, Josh Bailey makes it 1-0.
Capitals very unhappy with that last play. Nick Backstrom thought he was interfered with right at the top of the circle. The linesman's talking to the referee at the center ice stripe. Bailey to the roof. A little line tinkering works out for the Islanders. Watch it down low. Here comes the shot, and there it is. Through a maze of players and past Braden Holtby. Tavares, what a pass on the backhand, and there it is, past Orpik, who's trying to block it, going down to both knees, and Bailey has given the Islanders a 1-0 lead here in the first.
Man who had assists in 3 of the 4 games in this series gets his second goal this spring, and makes it 1-0 for New York. The Islanders scoring the first goal in 4 of the 5 games in this set. That had been the Capitals' calling card throughout the regular season. Washington in the red sweaters has to chase him down from behind again. We've crossed the 6-minute mark of the first period. Bailey's tally coming at 5:48. Troy Brouwer occupied by Cizikas. He's bumped there by Gleason. The centering pass gobbled up in the slot by Brooks Light. Clears it away. Oof. Wicked shoulder hit coming there. Clutterbuck found Brouwer in open ice.
Well, you always have to be aware, and you can try some counter hits, especially when this line is on the ice. Greeny's attempted it a couple of times when he sees big 17 Martin rumbling in on him. You've got to be prepared, and you've got to protect yourself when they're running around.
Kuhlman then just decked Kuznetsov through center. Latta was chit-chatting with Martin on the way to their respective benches. This one's going to be entertaining throughout. The Islanders have jumped to a 1-0 advantage. Washington building momentum through center. Alsner sprinkles it along the boards. Stacked up there on the rush was Johansson. Strome will clear it down for the Isles. Niskanen ahead of a former cap there. Mikhail Grabowski, 84 in the white, getting into this series in Game 5 after missing a lot of time with a head injury. Straight lets this one go, and it's flagged down by Braden Holtby. 7 minutes and 19 seconds in. New York comes to town. Not frightened at all by Verizon Center. Bailey on the board. Nothing New York, and the captain had a complaint.
Yeah, I remember I said that Nick Backstrom was complaining about interference. Well, it was interference by Tavares on the puck. Watch him get knocked down, grab the puck, kick it to himself, and that started that whole play. That's what Nick Backstrom and the Caps were upset about. Once you close your hand on the puck, should be a minor penalty. He kept it alive to himself, rotated out, backhanded it to Bailey. The Islanders have a 1-0 lead.
Bailey fires again. That was blocked. Tavares with points in 4 of the 5 games in this series. Tavares, the NHL's second leading scorer during the regular campaign. Washington in possession. Carlson chunks it along, and Backstrom will deliver to center. On the go, Joel Ward. Ward for Backstrom, knifing in. Then Ovechkin swinging a miss as that was bouncing on its way.
Should have called his own number. He's been hot, Joe B. Nick Backstrom, goals in 3 straight.
Ward's waiting along the dasher, sprinting back, banked it off a defender. Straight and DeHaan have been solid for Jack Capuano in the series. Oposo to the trailer. Tavares, stick save, Braden Holtby. On the long rebound, it is Jay Beagle who will power his way back through center. Beagle fights through another check. Gets help there from Andre Burakovsky, the 20-year-old who didn't seem fazed at all by the playoffs on Long Island. Gleason to the corner. Burakovsky and Brouwer in concert. Islanders will chip it out. Matt Martin doing the honors.
I thought he had a real good game, and I think Barry Trotz was very pleased with his development throughout the season. He was impressed with his speed and also his puck management. It's very hard in the playoffs as a young player to control the puck and have the patience. Burakovsky, you know he's going to be a good one because he that patience with the puck in Game 1.
And a willingness to learn while he was sitting out. This is offside against Washington. Marcus Johansson definitely disagreeing with the call. He's chock full of insight or chock full of something. And here's Craig's Voice on Value, presented by Morgan Franklin Consulting.
You got a screen test tonight, Joe B. Screen test time for the Caps. They got to get in front of Halak. That's worked for them, and the goals they've scored in this series, they've had traffic in front. They've thrown it at the net. We've seen signs of that early on here with Ovechkin going to the net. Guys getting a presence in front of Halak. He's not the biggest guy. You've got to make him try to find the puck. And that's going to be important for the Caps in their comeback effort.
Craig, he's been finding it pretty well in the first 9 minutes of this game. Halak with 7 saves unofficially.
And there's his playoff career numbers, 11 and 11, 2.35, 9.25. Pretty good. He's got a long-term deal here on the island. They quickly snatched him up once he became a Capital player that was not going to be re-upped, and they took advantage of that.
Kuznetsov wins the draw. Alsner fires, block. Johansson's backhand block. Score! Out of the air, Yevgeny Kuznetsov.
First playoff goal for Kuznetsov. Real good again on the face-off. Marcus will get the primary assist. You know you're a world-class talent when you can bat that puck out of midair. Left side of the screen. There's DeHaan getting a piece of it. Mojo follows it up, and he makes that look so easy. He's just going to bat it right out of midair. No chance for the Islander netminder, but it starts with another face-off win in the offensive zone. It worked perfectly in Game 4, and the Caps have tied it up here against the Islanders.
We talked with Kuznetsov earlier today at Kettler, and he said, it's time for me to get a point. Even better, Evgeny Kuznetsov on the board with his first ever Stanley Cup playoff goal. It's 1-1 in D.C.
No, you need your star players and you need your so-called core players, as Trotz likes to say, to chip in to have a great successful run. That's the type of production you need from the second and third lines for this Caps team.
Second time this year that Kuznetsov has tallied against the Islanders. First one back during the regular season. Grabowski with a dipping drive, answered there by Holtby, and he'll hang on.
And one more look at the goal, Joe B. We're going to check it out on our 84 Lumber slow-mo cam. There it is. That's not a base hit. That's a home run by Kuzi. Way to go, 92. Yes. Great celly, too, for Kuznetsov, tying this game up at 1.
22-year-old Russian, a Capital first-round pick back in the summer of 2010. He went on in the conversation we had with him earlier to talk about the team's togetherness in the Stanley Cup playoffs. He loves the way this team has bonded, especially in the last few weeks. They have rallied to tie the series at 2-2. They've rallied to tie Game 5 at 1-1. Fans upset they wanted a call as Beagle was sent soaring through the air. Back the other way comes Hickey. He'll one-handed into the Washington zone. We've crossed the midway mark of the opening period. Burakovsky chips it into the corner. Eastern Conference first round, Game 5, Caps and the Islanders from a raucous Verizon Center. Two teams working even in full strength. Strome will send this back into the Washington end.
That big Eastern Conference matchups last night. Ottawa 1-1-0. The Rangers won 2-1, Joe B, out east.
So that means the Rangers are in a command position to end that series early and get some rest. These two teams will face the winner of that series as Leddy sends it back behind the goal. We had the feeling all along the Caps and Islanders would be a rather long best-of-7.
Yep, they can still figure that to be true.
Point position. It'll just get away from Boychuk as the Islanders leave the zone.
And the Ducks are going to get a long rest, aren't they? They're the first ones to finish off in the first round. They down Winnipeg and win that series 4-0.
Hard hitting continues at ice level. Backstrom knocking down Oposo as the Isles will settle. This is lobbed wide of Braden Holtby. John Carlson will play it on for Ovechkin and he'll clear out. Time ticking away in the opening frame. Shots on goal now 7 apiece with 8:20 to go in the first. Carlson hot foots it back. He'll get there for an icing call against New York. This evening's Cold Hard Fact is brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light. There's a fine line between winning and losing in the playoffs.
Yeah, 21 of the last 25 playoff games are one-goal games for the Caps. 10 of the last 25 required overtime where the Caps are 500. Tuesday was the first overtime win on the island, Joe. Doesn't matter if you're the Caps or anybody. It's hard to win there throughout the ages against the New York Islanders.
This is the 7th all-time Stanley Cup playoff meeting between these two division rivals. The last one in 1993.
That big cheer here at Verizon as Wilson and Anders Lee make their way back.
First period fisticuffs for those two. Capitals have possession. It's Brooks Orpik. Stretching it out for Joel Ward. Ward with DeHaan right there in his sights. They go heavily to the corner boards. Kennedy didn't get it out. Kuznetsov has the puck for Washington. Points it to Niskanen. Alsner missed the mark. Anders Lee fidgets back through center. Nice pass for Kennedy. Through the seam there looking for Franz Nielsen. Good defense supplied by Alsner. The stretch for Chimera, he's in. Chimera to a backhand. Pad save Halak. Just enough there, Halak with that snowplow formation. just getting a pad in the way.
And what a great breakout. Good sight lines for the Caps. Going at the right time is so important. Shamera hit the hole at the right time. There was a seam between the two D. Once he received it in full stride, no one was going to catch the Caps number 25.
Burakovsky and Reinhart go to the boards. Beagle has it for Washington. Quick centering pass chipped away by Hickey. An alert stick there for the Islander defender. Nikolai Kuhlman will bounce it into the corner. Gleason arm in arm with Strome. Green plays it ahead. Islanders have it. Strome to the slot. It dribbles wide of Holtby. Boychuk comes pinching in from point position. Burakovsky failed to clear. Green roughhousing with Grabowski as the Isles are in the middle of a shift change. 6:23 to go in the first. Gleason barking for the breakout to begin. Green on the advance. Wilson was tied up. Cizikas was there.
Yeah, that was that left wing lock. Cizikas helping out the D there. Hard to make that pass up the wall unless it's indirect and you get a deflection from your guy at the center stripe to get it past that left wing lock guy.
Niskanen fires, blocked away by DeHaan. Wilson turns and drives. That's deflected to Karam to the corner. 5:50 to go in the opening period. 1-1 on the scoreboard. Kuznetsov for DC. Bailey for New York.
This is combustible out here, Joby.
Yes.
Wow. A lot of poundage.
At any time.
Sure is.
Niskanen fighting Martinoff. Wilson revs it up through center. Tom Wilson ran right into an Islander defender. Tavares on the bump set. Oposo. Toe drags away from Carlson. Kyle Oposo. With Backstrom close by. To a turning captain there, Tavares. The wrister deflected. Carlson bats at it and gets it clear past Reinhart. Islanders will resurface. The poke check supplied by Orpik. A shoulder hit coming from Ward. Backstrom in possession. Straightened up there by Boychuk. Shots on goal, 8 apiece. Big scoreboard, 1-1. The first period that is flying by.
So far in this series, 20 goals between these two clubs. 18, 5-on-5, 1 power play, 1 empty netter. Very difficult to draw penalties in this series. Not a whole lot of power plays. The Islanders had the advantage last game. The Caps just can't buy a power play, it seems, in this series.
Nielsen sends in for the wrister from Lee that bounces high in the air. And Holtby, like a center fielder, will flag that down. 4:22 remaining in the opening period. Evgeny Kuznetsov right into your living room with a celebration. The game tying tally on CSN.
5 living up to its advanced billing. 1-1 Caps and Islanders. One of the common themes in the 2 capital victories in this series, play of the defense in terms of offense. In games 2 and 4, the Caps D combined for 23 shots and 6 points. In the 2 losses in 1 and 3, 12 shots combined and just 1 point. And guys, a good omen tonight on that Evgeny Kuznetsov goal. Carl Alzner picks up an assist.
Al, we were talking with Mike Green earlier today, and he said, yeah, there are chances, there are opportunities for me to get involved offensively with the way the Islanders play structurally. We'll see how that plays out over the next minutes. As Brouwer speeds in there, great recovery again by Nick Leddy as the net is off of its moorings for a whistle.
And Halak's saying, hey, how about a minor penalty? He's not going to get it. Brouwer ran into him, but he was all set to take the brunt of that hit. Starts with an indirect off the glass. You notice the D and Strome stepping up. Pretty good play by Leddy to not take a penalty. And watch Brouwer run into Halak. Right there, not a whole lot happening there. I think if he really drills him, he probably takes a minor penalty. But he held up. He tried to stop. Brouwer does not want to take a penalty here in the first period.
Brouwer and Leddy, former Chicago Blackhawk teammates. Nick Leddy's numbers in his playoff career. He has a ring with the Blackhawks.
He's going to be here a long time on the island. A 7-year deal along with Boychuk to stabilize their blue line for many years to come.
Brouwer told us the youngster really learned a lot from Duncan Keith and Brent Seabrook during his time in the Windy City.
Brent Seabrook, a huge overtime goal. What was it, 3 overtimes? the other night past Nashville on a slap shot.
He tends to do that.
He certainly does.
The Blackhawks have the Predators on the ropes. This puck is 3 rows into the spectator seats for a whistle. We stay 1-1. Folks, listen up. You can join the team today. Purchase your 2015-16 full season tickets. You get guaranteed access to purchase this season's Stanley Cup playoff ticks and the opportunity to use the pay-as-we-play payment option. Call 202-266-CAPS. Verizon Center faithful, checking the program. A 1-1 score tonight. Bailey from Tavares and Leddy. Kuznetsov from Johansson and Alsner. 2 tallies separated by a little less than 4 minutes. Bringing us to the 1-1 draw. Carlson will spin it around for Ward. Just as Ward was getting the puck, he had a face full there, the Islander defender, Calvin DeHaan. Backstrom punched it loose. Nicholas Backstrom on the go, hooks the pass off of the defender straight. Bailey upset there by Ward. Tavares digging in, supplying some support at the defensive end.
Line 1 versus line 1. Backstrom gets the assignment against the Tavares line here on home ice. And Trotz has been matching up every single stoppage of play, getting the guys that he wants out that favor the Capitals team. You're looking for any little advantage. And if he thinks there's going to be a favorable advantage on a line change, he's going to make it.
3 minutes separating us from Zayo intermission live. Kuznetsov on the fly. Kuznetsov to the front. The carom off of Johansson is loose. Evgeny Kuznetsov curls, loses the defender. Reinhart. Kuznetsov powers his way to the boards. Franz Nielsen is there defensively. Kuznetsov with a keep-away clinic here. Green steps in, fires, stick save, Halak. That was part slap shot, part pass. Kennedy sails a wrister way wide of the goal. Franz Nielsen hurriedly missed the target as well. Kennedy, his slap pass was interrupted as the Caps are there defensively with Kuznetsov to fling it on out. Chimera back skating into the zone, pinned up along the boards. Beagle just off the bench. Beagle marked by Boychuk. 5-on-5 play continues. Neither team has had a power play in the opening period. As the puck squirts loose, it's Grabowski away. Mikhail Grabowski, 9 seasons in North America. Locker, this is just his second ever experience in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Once with Toronto in the past.
I was going to say none in Toronto.
He did get one.
I know.
Grabowski fires. That's deflected.
That was just sort of a shot. You know what I mean?
I understand completely.
And imagine he's been out since mid-February, hit by one of the great Islanders' sons, Eric Nystrom.
Yes.
Bob Nystrom's son, who clocked him and gave him his concussion.
Clutterbuck running into the corner. Grabowski and Kuhlman were both impressive free agent signings for the Isles and their GM Garth Snow.
I think they both called each other. They both wanted to come as a package because they're both very good buddies.
A little bit more than a minute with which to work in the first. Washington out shooting New York 9-8. Orpik playing ahead. Tom Wilson will clear it in. Like is there at the top of the forecheck. Along the wall of Poso. Spins it back to center. Carlson and Orpik have the puck for Washington. Ladled ahead. Alex Ovechkin was bracketed there. Tavares and Hickey supplying the D. On a counter punch, it's a Poso. Shifting gears against Niskanen. Lowers his shoulder. The feed to the front. A back-checking Ovechkin was there. He dodges Boychuk's open ice hit. Ovechkin rumbling through center. Great moves. A snap pass that was too hot to handle for Backstrom. Points it. Niskanen fires. Deflected. Stopped by Halak. And the rebound is beneath the Islander netminder long enough for the whistle.
The Islanders got lucky on that last sequence. The Caps were off to the races. Boychuk lucky to get a piece of OV, or the Caps were racing on a 2 or 3-on-1.
On the Toyota League leaderboard, these gentlemen like to double up.
Yeah, all 3 of the guys in display here tonight. Ovechkin, Tavares, and Backstrom, 27, 25, and 24. Multi-point games in the regular season. Ben Getzlaf, Hudler, and Sagan all up there. Multi-point guys in games. The Capitals, Alex Ovechkin, in the last game, hit his 17th time he's had a multi-point game in the playoffs. The last slap shot, great deflection by Joel Ward. he has some sense when it comes to the playoffs, and he has that ability to get to the front of the net. That is all about courage for Joel Ward. Another good deflection.
Usually you have to have the willingness to endure some pain to get there. That time he got there relatively scot-free. Chimera rolls one through the paint. 3 seconds to go in the period. As this comes back to point position, we hear the siren sound. The Islanders were on the board first. It came at the 5:48 mark. Josh Bailey provides as he strides to the Islander room. Yevgeny Kuznetsov's first in the Stanley Cup playoffs. 9:05 the time of that tally. We are 1-1 after 20. Zayo Intermission Live is coming up on the net. In a few moments, you'll hear Al Koken with a Capitals guest. Highlights and stats will come from here in the booth. Locker will be telestrating soon enough. On this Thursday night, one of 4 Stanley Cup playoff games unfolding. Another heavy hitter between the Caps and the Isles. To the studio now, Rob Carlin, Alan May, and Brent Johnson. For the first time in this series, the Capitals have outshot the Islanders in the first period. They didn't outscore them, however, 1-1 through 20. This is Game 5 of the Eastern Conference first round on Comcast Sportsnet. Joe, Craig, and Al with you. Thompson Creek window of opportunity. Locker taking advantage of some good breaks.
Yeah, Martin no stick here, and here you see the pass across, and Alzner strikes. It's amazing how a $250 stick can let you down. Oposo without a stick on the left side, and there's an Ovechkin berry on a tap-in, and the game winner in overtime. Tavares' stick snapped on an Ovechkin shot off the face-off, and Backy scores. You talk to Capuano about this. He bemoans it. He can't believe it for the Caps. They're loving life when the Islanders break a twig.
That Game 4 overtime win, Craig, almost 30 years to the day of the Caps' last overtime win against the Islanders.
Mike Gartner, right? In the mid-'80s.
Jack Capuano leading this New York team into Washington. One of 4 Stanley Cup playoff first-round games going on tonight. Keeping an eye on the out-of-town board, Tampa Bay and Detroit. No score, first period. Ben Bishop and Peter Mrazek in their respective cages. Mrazek, when he's been on, has been awfully good. Detroit leads that series 2-1. Johansson for Kuznetsov from the angle, and it's stabbed by Jaro Halak.
Yeah, Kuzi, Al's guess. Great shot on a sharp angle there, communicating well with Chimera. This line has been very good for the Caps. Nice to see Kuznetsov get on the scoreboard. We talk about secondary, tertiary, all those names that we use for the scoring. The Caps have to score by committee to get past the Islanders.
Careful on that wee stuff. Wee. Tertiary. Slap you. 28 seconds into period 2, 1-1 if you're just jumping on board with us. Josh Bailey on the goal for New York. Yevgeny Kuznetsov's first ever in the Stanley Cup playoffs for Washington. Neither team with a power play in the opening frame. We continue to go 5-on-5. We did have one dust up. Wilson dropping the gloves with Anders Lee. Beagle crowding the Islander defense. Punched it along. Burakovsky from his knees for Niskanen's wrister. That's deflected away. Boychuk on guard in front of the goal.
Boychuk, the minutes leader in that first period. 8:04 of ice time for Boychuk with 8 hits. For the Capitals, it was Niskanen, 7-17. So really relying both coaches on their top 4 defensive pairings here in this Game 5.
Remember, Wisnowski played less than 8 minutes in Game 4. Boychuk, a game-high 30 in that contest, which went to overtime. Tavares on the move, snakes in and fires. Good glove save there from Braden Holtby.
There you see those world-class hands. Real good stop as he wound around the Capitals' defense.
Carlson with a 70-footer, armed away by Halak. Ovechkin was hit up high. Alex recovers, flails it into the corner. Joel Ward's had an effective hockey game so far tonight. He works there on the interchange, setting a pick for Backstrom. Nicholas will carry it all the way back through center, and Washington will rewind. Jaro Halak will slow it up just enough. Hickey plays it along. This is the youngster Griffin Reinhart, making his Stanley Cup playoff debut for the injured Lubomir Wisnowski. Cizikas turns for the Isles. Spins one to the front. Right there waiting was Michael Latta for Washington. Latta and Cizikas, who have played against each other since they were kids in the Ontario area. There's Cizikas on the go, shadowed by his buddy, who knocked him down and gave him the 1-4. Matt Martin throws it into the pack for Clutterbuck. Knifing to the front, good stick check from Gleason, was waiting with help from Like. Straight at the point position, maneuvers around Wilson. Backboards for Clutterbuck, flushed out by Green. Cal Clutterbuck, extremely effective for New York. Martin off the cycle, short-circuited by Latta. He failed to clear. Martin off the boards with a drive, and the blocker of Holtby was at the ready as it's golfed to safety by Tom Wilson. The length of the ice, no icing here, deflected off of an Islander.
And you see why Capuano loves that trio. They play the game, as he says it, the right way. They're simplify it. There's nothing fancy about that trio, but once they get forechecking, you better be smart with your passing.
I don't know about you, but they're wearing me out. I'd like to see them stay put on the bench like a lot of fourth lines. On the go, it's Lee, 2-on-2. Anders Lee fires, blocked by Carlson, and he puts it off of the rink for the whistle. Let's send you downstairs. Al Koken had the chance to catch up with Caps assistant Lane Lambert.
And Joe, Lane Lambert's telling me the message that was sent to the team was that they need to tighten up in the defensive zone, especially be aware of how hard the Islander defensemen have been pinching. Now, offensively, just continue to push forward, continue to play fast, especially in this period with the long change.
Al, great to have you with us here at Verizon Center on CSN.
And case in point, Al Koken, that's how their first goal developed. A real hard, aggressive pinch by Nick Leddy. The Capitals wingers must be strong in the half walls.
Good job at the face-off dot. Washington has won 2/3 of the draws in this Game 5. Halak will swing it on for Leddy. He powers it along the boards. Carlson was waiting. Far corner, Boychuk and Ovechkin combine as Tavares will speed back through center. A wraparound to Oposo. Islanders changing up their forward lines as Tavares fires, it's blocked. A different assembly from Game 4 to Game 5.
Now, often when you lose, you tinker with your lines. When you win, you stand pat. And that's been the case between these two teams tonight.
That's what Washington did. Carlson with a wrister, armed away by Halak. Capitals still minus the services of Eric Fair, John Erskine, and Dmitry Orlov on the injured list. Curtis Glencross, once again, the healthy scratch as the whistle comes from linesman Steve Miller. From the promo department, we ask you to stay up to date on your favorite team. Download the CSN Washington app today. It features breaking news, instant analysis, scores, and now video. You can get everything Capitals, Redskins, Wizards, DC United, and more on the CSN Washington app.
The Capitals look crisp so far as the owner looks on here at Verizon Center. The Capitals winning back that home ice advantage. In that first period, Joe, unlike a lot of the first games, they only had one giveaway. And that's a good sign because they hadn't had the Islanders and they haven't given them a lot of flurries.
Long wrist shot, pad save, follow up, great save. Halak with a beauty there on Beagle.
Beagle can't believe it. He shot it right in motion and it goes right into the catching glove. Right place, right time. And Beags is going to look up because he can't believe it. Our Land Rover defensive play of the game belongs to their goaltender, Joe B. There's the big redirect, and look at Beagle. He's been giving up some rebounds. That's one thing I've seen about Halak here in this hockey game. And that is a beautiful save there by Halak on Beags.
In his last 7 playoff games against Washington, Halak's save percentage is almost 96. I mean, that is darn near impenetrable. Grabowski on the go. Drop pass to Hans. Closing is Strome. Tic-tac-toe here to the front. A sliding Alsner makes the breakup. Straight towards the cage, looking for that high tip play of Kuhlman. They fight for it in the deep slot. Kuhlman fires. That goes high. Andre Burakovsky has it surrounded for Washington. Keeps it moving for Beagle, who will play clear onto the Islanders' side of the table. Calvin DeHaan, this 23-year-old Ottawa native, cross rink. Ryan Straight, who hails from Boston, Massachusetts, will dump it in. Niskanen outlasting Cizikas. Clutterbuck racing into the corner. Cizikas posted up behind the goal. Casey's pass comes topside for Boychuk, then Leddy. Brister on the way, a pad save for Holtby. It was headed wide. Cizikas and Clutterbuck stirring it up again to the goal mouth for Martin. Excellent defense there supplied by the Caps.
Do they ever play in the other end?
No. Boychuk bombs away, way wide of the goal. Wilson will get this one to center, only as far as Cizikas. He'll clear it in as that line will check out. Thank God. Wilson through center. Like managed to stay onside there. Franz Nielsen waiting for the forecheck of Kuznetsov. We remain 1-1, 6.5 into the second period. Kennedy on for Nielsen, full flight, trying to toe drag his way in. A pad save for Holtby. They slot it for Lee. He lets it go wide of the target. Nielsen and the Islanders tipping the ice here in the last few moments.
Man, it's all because of a forecheck and a cycle, getting the Capitals reeling a little bit.
Hickey winds and drives way wide of the goal. He was looking for the tip in there as Johansson will clear. This is a potential 2-on-1. Kuznetsov and Chimera. Drop it. Green fires, and it's a blocker save for Halak.
And that might have also hit the blocker and his body. Just about went through him.
To the slot, Johansson. Then there, a sprawling Halak robs Kuznetsov, and he'll cover.
Unreal mobility and flexibility by Halak. He's been the difference maker here in the second.
Locker, I'm having a flashback from 5 years ago.
Don't tell me that.
Somebody shake me. Somebody shake me. Is he wearing a Canadiens uniform? Terrific save. Our military salute is brought to you by Pentagon Federal Credit Union. This evening's honoree, Colonel David Lappin, who's been an active member of the U.S. Marine Corps since 1980. David, we thank you and your fellow servicemen and women for all of your efforts. We thank Pentagon Federal Credit Union and all of our generous sponsors
Men
for their
behind
actions.
the scenes. Joe B., Brian McClellan, Mitch Korn on the right, B. Mac on the left, the general manager of this team.
Grabowski and Kuhlman working back through center in this 1-1 hockey game. It's game 5 of a best-of-7 series. Level at 2 games apiece. Washington winning game 4 in overtime. New York winning game 3 in a likewise fashion. Kuznetsov and Bailey have traded goals tonight. Long drive, pad save, rebound loose, just shuffled wide of the goal. Marcus Johansson with a great chance. It's Grabowski working back through center. Strome stayed onside. Centering pass, Kuhlman zipped that one high.
He had an open net, Joe.
That was a smart-looking setup from Mikhail Grabowski.
It really was. At the other end, the Caps are making Halak move side to side a ton. They've been a lot of east-west plays. They've got to gobble up those rebounds and bury them.
Letty, pull-up wrist shot, stopped. Juicy rebound there from Holtby. He won't like that when he reviews the tape. To the backboards, it's Orpik. Bailey for New York, trying to get it to Oposo, and the Caps will turn it away and send on Ovechkin 2-on-2. Alex is closing, gets the middle, fires it, and he yanked it wide of the goal. Ward butting into Letty. The feed for Backstrom just chiseled away from his blade, and Bailey will scoot back through center and dump it in.
Maybe a sign of fatigue there a little bit. The way Alex attacked Boychuk, man, he was reeling, trying to get back. They've got to continue to pound Boychuk and Letty and maybe tire him out the rest of the way.
Ward wheeling into the offensive zone. Content to shuffle it in there. Washington is calling off the Dogs for a line change. 9 minutes into period 2. Ovechkin always says, keep me going against that top defense pair. I'll wear him down. Latta towards the cage. Over a 2-week series, you would imagine it all mounts and adds up. And in the end, the grade 8 hopes to flourish. Clutterbuck for Reinhardt. It bounced over his blade. And Mike Green, who's had a very good second period. Whoa! Dodging Clutterbuck, who came from nowhere.
And this Capitals line has to have a better shift as pushing and shoving ensues behind the play. The Latta line has to get after this Cizikas line here on this shift.
The tempers are just on edge a little bit between these two Metro Division rivals. Kennedy turns, looking for Nielsen, deflected. Tom Wilson for the Caps. I asked Mike Green earlier today, do you like having a bullseye on? He says, yeah, it's fun. Give and go, Lee. Backside pass, just dragged wide of the cage by Nielsen. Mike Green likes the physical play. Clutterbuck was trying to put him in the front row. DeHaan with a wrister that deflects down. It's Burakovsky snaking his way away from the blue paint. Puts some air under that outlet for Beagle. Full strides down the wing, off the shoulder of Halak. And it scoots wide of the goal. 9.5 to go. Great second period. Turnover potential here. Beagle for Brouwer. Head save Halak. Rebound loose. Brouwer feeds. Score! Look at Karl Alsner sneaking in.
Yes, fans, high fives all around. Karl Alsner has been involved in everything tonight. Watch this play by Beagle, though. Misplay down low by DeHaan. Maybe fatigued there throwing that puck. And how about the hustle of Brouwer? Jamming that puck out and then giving it to Alsner. Just a hard-working goal. The shot, the puck is rolling. He doesn't have his mitt totally on top of it. He complains to the referee to no avail, and the Caps have the lead with Alsner sneaking in to bury it.
Halak's complaint was that he had it covered up. The official said otherwise. Play continued. Brouwer to Alsner in the back of the net at 10:31. Washington has the lead. Alex Ovechkin got clipped up high. Ovechkin toe drags, works to his backhand, not able to fight through the defense of Boychuk. That's been a wonderful matchup through the series.
And that was 5 feet away from the referee.
A post over the front deflection, good save there. Holtby on Tavares. I did not like the way Ovechkin is dragging a wheel over the bench.
Just got over there, sitting down right now next to the backup goalie, Grubauer.
Backstrom with a snapshot eye high, flagged down by Halak. Alex Ovechkin does not look all that comfortable. Washington has the advantage. Karl Alsner, second of the series. Both of them right here on home ice. Big kiss. Johnny Boychuk and Alex Ovechkin have been in focus all series long. This last rush up ice, though, had the Caps captain hurting.
Yeah, first of all, a punch with the left arm. Look at that, little arm shiver, and then watch him fall right on his knee there. And then Boychuk gets up slowly there, catching that right leg of Alex Ovechkin. And there you see him going slowly to the bench. It's been a great battle between their top defenseman and leader and the Capitals captain as he looks on. No worse for wear. His numbers are impressive in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Gleason jawing with Martin. Wilson's out there having an exchange with Clutterbuck and Boychuk. Referees tonight, Frederick Lecuyer and Chris Rooney.
They always like lecturing Willie, don't they?
This is Rooney doing so.
Let him play. Young, energetic guy.
I believe it was Kyle Oposo who was questioning the IQ of Tom Wilson during the day off. Saying some nice things, or not nice things, about the Capitals winger. Green having some issues there on a rolling puck. Cizikas puts the pressure on with Clutterbuck. Washington on the outlet, it's Like on the go. Brooks Like working to the outside and dropping it into the corner. 2-1, Capitals have the advantage on a goal from Karl Alsner. Tom Wilson measured by Cizikas. Point position Gleason. Send it below the goal line, and it'll make its way all the way around as Martin lassoed Latta. Boychuk for New York. Takes a bump through center. Martin wipes out. Green on the go. Mike Green rolls it in there as Cizikas came to him. Boychuk pressured by Like. Latta to the slot for Chimera. Jason spins. The game-winning goal hero of Game 2 on the overlap. Kuznetsov's rocket off of Halak's shoulder and blocker pad.
Got to try to keep the heat up. It's a long change period. The Islanders defense having a tough time getting to the bench for reinforcements. A lot of Leddy, a lot of Boychuk. This is a heck of a long shift for their top pair.
Capitals fans, we are louder, looking to stuff there Kuznetsov, and there's a penalty call. A high stick to come here.
I think it's going against the Caps, unfortunately. They're not going to get the power play. The Islanders are. The goal scorer goes to the box. Kuznetsov, the high
92 Washington, 2 minutes high sticking.
And there it is. So the Islanders get the first man advantage against a perplexed Barry Trotz. Here it is, the shot coming around. He gets his stick up, now trying to hold the puck in, and he's trying to get that loose puck against Leddy, and here comes the stick right under the schnoz of Leddy. His net's off to the box on the high sticking call.
Washington penalty killers called on the carpet. They've been perfect against New York through 4 games of this series. The first power play on the night belongs to the guys in the white sweaters. The New Yorkers are trailing by 1 in Game 5 of this Eastern Conference first round series. Stanley Cup playoff action continues on Comcast Sportsnet. 5-on-4. Leddy walks the line on the interchange for Strome, and then Bailey. Bailey, a first period strike for New York. Carlson on a takeaway. Backstrom will clear it out.
And it was the penalty killing that you could say changed the momentum of Game 4 on the island. They had to kill 3 or 4 consecutive penalties for over 7 minutes and allowed very few shots against Braden Holtby. That was the difference in the game.
Anders Lee's pass deflected by Alsner. Oposo for Lee, flushed out by Niskanen. Chipped along the wall. Like has some room. Brooks like second effort will clear.
And that's what you need, Joe B. That so-called second effort. And that's been the difference. They've hounded the puck against the Islander power play. Everyone on the Islander side say, hey, we got to win that. That was the changing point in the game. Their power play has been powerless against Lane Lambert and his penalty-killing units.
Kuznetsov in the box, another 40 seconds. Boychuk swings it this way for Hickey. Boychuk looking for a passing lane. Hickey, a shooting lane. Interchanges with Nielsen, fires it, he hums that one wide. Boychuk on a reload, deflected down. They dig for it. Franz Nielsen and Mikhail Grabowski. Grabowski takes it off the wall. Boychuk changes the point of attack. Gets it back. A slap pass for Grabowski, marked by Niskanen. 15 seconds in the power play. Hickey on the back pedal. Lets it go, deflected. Holtby the save. Rebound cleared out of there by Joel Ward.
And Holtby has been great. One of the big reasons why the penalty-killing unit has been so great in this series. You need stellar goaltending, and they've been getting it.
Just one shot for New York. Verizon Center erupts. 5-on-5 play. Latta looking to get it out. Marching back through center at Yevgeny Kuznetsov. He'll dump it in. You go back to the playoffs of 2013. The Caps have killed 22 in a row. Deep slot, Johansson. Ovechkin had that one bounce over his blade. Alex Ovechkin back on ice after that mishap with Boychuk. Led us to a commercial break. Johansson steams in there on the forecheck. Capitals have the puck. Halak has it in his glove. Long enough for the whistle. We'll get you back downtown in just a few moments. Washington in the driver's seat in Game 5. Beagle and Ovechkin just chilling out. Caps have a 2-1 advantage, getting late in the second period of Game 5. The assist leaders are presented by your local Hyundai dealers. Let them assist you in scoring the lowest prices on the hottest lineup in America. This group of defenders counted upon at even strength.
PK Subban at the top of the list, 2 better than our own John Carlson at 30. Pietrangelo, 28. Tyson Barrie, a real nice season in Colorado with the Lance, 27. On the season, John Carlson, 43 helpers, 30 of them even. Those are nice numbers for Big John.
John, second on the team when it comes to assists, only to the league leader in that category, Nicholas Backstrom. Caps in the offensive zone. Halak bunts this one into the corner. There's a whistle here.
Yeah, in front of the net, Kuznetsov was clipped up high, and the back official blew the whistle. It might have been high stick there. They're going to meet and see if this is deeming a power play for the Caps. And we'll see if they get one of their own here, Joe.
Nobody raised an arm among the zebra stripes. There were no right arm raised.
No. Faceoff's coming outside, and I don't see anybody going to the box. So they just blew the whistle because they thought he was injured. So the faceoff's coming outside, and the boys will have a faceoff right at the blue line.
And the fans have a reason to howl.
Yeah, here's the faceoff, and watch right as he comes to the net here. Here comes the high stick right there, and that's got to be a penalty. It's undetected. The back official actually was the one that blew the whistle because Kuzi was down in a heat. Should have been a power play for the Caps.
Definitely a reason for the fans to hoot and holler. Strome got his stick up there on Kuznetsov and got away with it. Ward darting in, pinballs one to the front. Halak, in an awkward fashion, will cover.
Ooh, and he's bent over, Joe. He might have really threw that right leg out around the post there. Looks slow getting up there. The Capitals are getting to him around the net. They've made him move a lot in this hockey game because of the traffic, because of the net drives by Ovechkin, who's been all over him this whole game. Kuzi looks all right. He'll be ready. Got one goal already. Our stats here. Shots for the Islanders, 7-7. 7 and 15 for the Caps. Hits. Capitals out hitting this Islander team, and they're also out blocking them in front of the net.
Whenever I see Jaro Halak in goal, I always think his leg pads are disproportionate to his height. He uses them really well.
He sure does.
But it looks uncomfortable for him to move. Be curious to get the thoughts of our Brent Johnson about that. As this is rolled back to center by Clutterbuck. With 4:15 remaining in the second period, it's a 2-1 lead for the Caps. Trying to improve upon it, here is Brouwer. Sharp angle deflection! Halak the save! He couldn't find the rebound. The Islander defense did. Martin takes it to safety.
Puck's already out of the zone, and he was still looking behind him.
Clutterbuck drags away from Green. Green throws Clutterbuck to the glass on a good hit. Martin right in there. Jack Capuano will get a line change going as Green advances steadily through neutral and dumps in. The lead goal provided in the second period by Carl Alsner at the 10:31 mark of the frame. Dahan for straight. Chimera right after him. Chimera and Johansson winning the board battle. As it's bounced free, Dahan has the puck for New York. Racing back through center. Anders Lee takes the pass from Nielsen. Lee busting wide off the skirt of the goal. The ricochet right to the waiting Johansson. He'll send Chimera down the flank. Chimera fires, pad save. The big rebound touched away by Hickey and back to center. Dahan waiting for it. Using the wall. Ward was anticipating that for Washington. Joel Ward with 3 minutes to go in the second period. Scurries out of the corner. Ward, cross rink, Niskanen lets it fly, jabbed down by Halak. The shot counter up to 28 for Washington.
And that was a toughie because he had OV waving his stick in front of his sight lines. OV just didn't get his twig on it, or that would have been a toughie for Halak.
Tavares bottled up at center. Ovechkin touched it on for Backstrom. Two teams are skating 5-on-5.
And throughout this series, the Capitals have gotten better as the game has went along, and this is perfect evidence of this. It's been an excellent second period, and usually in the third, they really take it to the Islanders. We'll see if that holds true tonight.
Trying to win Game 5 of this best of 7. Washington and New York tied up at 2 apiece. Brouwer hovering in the corner. Elias Sports Bureau tells us the Game 5 winner when the series is tied 2-2 wins 78.7% of the time. Orpik roughed up there with a Poso.
I like those odds if you win this one.
Yes, if you win it. Right now the Capitals lead it, protecting that with less than 2 minutes to go in period 2. A Poso railroaded by Orpik. The centering pass for Leddy. Fakes, fires, it goes wide of the goal. A Poso towards the cage. Tavares turns the corner. Islander captain feeds for Leddy, and that's an easy stop for Holtby from long range. It's 2-1 Washington. We have McDonald's trivia for you tonight. Which 4, you need 4 names, which 4 Caps defenders have scored more than 10 playoff goals for the franchise? Which 4 Capital defenders have scored in double figures in the playoffs? I'll tell you right away, the guy on the screen has 9. Not enough. Although I had a premonition that he would score tonight. He's had a lot of great chances.
That's going back in the history books, isn't it, for some of these guys?
Yeah, I think so. And I think right now I'm confident of 3. I can't get the 4th. Grabowski tying up there, muscling up with Backstrom. Those two guys would know their face-off tendencies from past workouts in Washington a season ago. Niskanen ahead for Chimera. Leaves it to the trailer. It's Backstrom skipping into the zone. Chimera with a skating speed, angled there by Grabowski. Turnover, though. Backstrom has it. Turns it to the corner. Kuznetsov tried the fancy pass. Chimera cycles it to Kuznetsov. Then on for Johansson. Marcus Johansson in the final minute of period 2. Erased there by Leddy. Kuznetsov on the hop. Evgeny Kuznetsov, a first period goal for DC. Nice pass for Johansson. Lets this one sail wide of the cage. Niskanen getting into it with Chimera. Kuznetsov centering pass gobbled up, and back come the Isles. Strome and Kuhlman 2-on-2. Kuhlman stick check by Niskanen. 30 seconds left in the second period. Orpik in no hurry. On for Niskanen. Then Johansson puts it out wide. 18 seconds with which to operate for Washington. Hickey is there. Stick check by Ovechkin. Out of the corner. Ovechkin, curl and drag. Tripped up. Power play here for Washington. 8 seconds left in the period. Extra skater coming on. Holtby sprints to the bench. As the second period will come to its end. Backstrom is there in plenty of time. We are through with 2, and Washington has its first lead at any intermission of this series.
And they'll have a power play to start the third because of the speed wide by the grade 8. He had the goalie totally pulled out of position. The goal scorer in that period, Carl Alsner. Great work by Brouwer to find him for the go-ahead goal.
High fives for Carl on his way to the dressing room. Zayo Intermission Live is coming up. Al Koken will have a guest. Highlights and stats from this Game 5. News and notes from all around the Stanley Cup playoffs. 2-1 Washington. Zayo Intermission Live begins. Chick Hernandez, Brian Mitchell with his Sports Talk Live preview.
All right, Joe B, we knew it would be a physical game, and certainly the Caps are not backing down.
They're not going to back down. Everybody knew they would come out after Tom Wilson, but you can see his teammates came to have a physical game, and the Islanders better be prepared. This third quarter is going to be a special one.
We're here, Sports Talk Live, right here at the Verizon Center after Capitals postgame live, and the president disses one New England Patriot. It is fun. Joe B, back to you.
We call that a tease in the business.
How don't those guys have their own suite?
They have their own suite, and they have plenty of company there ready to do the show with them.
Unbelievable.
Way to go, boys. We'll talk with you soon. 2 periods down in D.C. Game 5, Carl Alsner's having himself a series. He has the lead goal tonight. Zayo Intermission Live continues after these words. Comcast Sportsnet coverage of Capitals hockey has been brought to you by Geico, saving people money on more than just car insurance. Sport Automotive, Chevrolet, and Honda. Carl Alsner's a sport fan. B12. Visit sportautomotive.com. Crop Metcalf. For all your plumbing needs, call Crop Metcalf, home of the 5-star technician. Mercedes-Benz, located on the web at mbusa.com. Legal Seafoods. If it isn't fresh, it isn't legal. Visit LegalSeafoods.com. And by Volvo. Here in Washington, D.C., inside of Verizon Center, Zayo Intermission Live is complete. We're getting set to start the third period. The Caps have a 2-1 advantage in Game 5. In our Legal Seafoods Bite of the Night, Braden Holtby tells you John Tavares is a master of disguise.
And some guys, 90% of the time they're shooting, or 90% of the time they're passing, or some guys like their backhand more, or whatever. He uses it all. So a player like that, you really just have to trust your patience and really focus on as if it's not Tavares, as if it's just the play happening, and not try and cheat towards players' tendencies. You just react to what he does.
Braden Holtby discussing the talents of John Tavares, the Islanders' high-scoring captain. In this game, it's a 2-1 lead for Washington. Kuznetsov and Alsner, the last two on the board as the Caps are making their way out of the dressing room. Josh Bailey lifted the Islanders to the lead in this one. 20 minutes to go in regulation. Folks, tonight's Caps 40th anniversary moment, it's brought to you by the Virginia Lottery.
Maybe the biggest one ever. Larry Murphy, Hall of Famer, Springsdale Hunter against the Flyers. And a beautiful goal right between Hextall's pads, and the fans going crazy.
Memorable moments.
Look at that young Mike Keenan, huh?
A handshake with Brian Murray. Dale Hunter, forever recognized here in the rafters at Verizon Center. The Capitals trying to get the jump in this series. They lost home ice in Game 1. Alex Ovechkin and friends rebounded in Game 2 with a 4-3 triumph. They scored the last 3 goals of that game. The Islanders, a quick winner in Game 3 in overtime thanks to John Tavares 15 seconds in. And then Nicklas Backstrom leveling the count in the series in Game 4, setting the stage for this third period. The guys in white know they have a home game to come. Game 6 at the Coliseum Saturday. The game time and the broadcast network is still to be determined.
And this is where they want to strike right now and take a stranglehold of this game. The last 6 playoff games, the Cats have had just 9 power play chances dating back to their last time in the playoffs. They've only had 7 of them in the 4 games this year, Joe. Power plays have been hard to come by the Caps here this series.
Washington led the NHL with a 25.3 effectiveness in the regular season. You'll see that 1 for 7 in this series. It was the Backstrom power play goal in Game 2. Off we go. A chance to pad the lead. 5-on-4 for the guys in red. Backstrom hands it along for Johansson, gliding down the flank. Backstrom working the half-board. They set it. Ovechkin whiffed on the one-timer, counter-punching the dangerous, and I mean dangerous, Franz Nielsen, a wrister that was spoiled by Karlsson. In the last 5 years, Nielsen has 11 shorties. Backstrom leaves it to the trailer. Karlsson will dump it in.
He's the new John Madden in the NHL, isn't he?
Very similar in that regard.
Sure is.
Nice keep by Karlsson. Cross rink for Ovechkin. Sweeps it down low all the way to Backstrom. Brand new ice sheet to operate the power play for Washington, which exists for another 65 seconds. Karlsson bunts it for Brouwer. Distribute to Backstrom. Flushed out by Cizikas. Brouwer wins the battle. Ovechkin giving some ground. Karlsson with a wrister on the way that goes wide of a screened Halak.
Ovechkin isn't getting much ground because Boychuk is all over him along with the top guy on the penalty kill, so they've got to look at other options, and that's exactly what the Caps are going to look for, Joe, is look for other options. They can't always go to that flank to Alex Ovechkin.
Karlsson snakes his way out of the zone, feeds for Burakovsky, then Kuznetsov. The youngsters back to point position for Green. Yevgeny Kuznetsov, goal line extended. Point position Green. This way Niskanen, he whiffs. Hickey along the boards, captured by Kuznetsov. Green walks the line, 10 ticks left in the power play. Kuznetsov, nice pass, Ward, no angle. Kuznetsov one more time. Force feeding Ward, who drilled it wide. As the Islanders are back to even strength, the Caps without a power play shot. Kuznetsov worked over there by Hickey. 5-on-5 in the third period. Yevgeny Kuznetsov cradles it around the defense. Shortens up on his stick. Forehand, great delivery, swing, and a chunk shot there from Burakovsky.
Would have been an empty net had Burakovsky caught that cleanly. Boy, oh boy, does Kuznetsov ever have his shake and bake going here tonight.
Playmaking beautifully this evening. As we're back to 5-on-5, Beagle works the boards with Brooks Light. Like there for Chimera's drive, deflected, pad save, rebound, score! Brooks Light, top shelf.
That's the scouting report, Joe. We've been calling for it. You got to go upstairs when you get the second opportunity. And here comes Brooks. He just turns and fires it right over the catching glove. He's not the biggest net minder. He's one of the 5th smallest in the National Hockey League, so you got to make him pay. That whiskers off his left shoulder, and the puck goes right into the top shelf past his catching glove. Watch it just sort of get a piece of his shoulder or maybe the side of his mask, and the Capitals have a 2-goal lead.
Heck, when you can, rip his ears off.
Why not? Shoot for the ears.
Brooks Laich at .242, his 10th career playoff goal, triggering a deafening celebration inside of Verizon Center. The Caps have a 2-goal bump. Nicklas Backstrom to take the draw. Backstrom on the ice for 7 of Washington's first 8 goals in this series. Wins the face-off for Ovechkin. His wrister was blocked. Ovechkin with Backstrom and Ward. Capitals leaning now on the Islander defense. An Islander D that's been all series long without perhaps its best in Travis Hamonic, who continues to sit out through 5 games of the series.
And their veteran Wisnowski not in the lineup after taking that hit from Wilson.
Tavares force-feeding that pass. Backstrom with the takeaway, and Ward will exit the zone, sending the captain in one-on-one. Ovechkin against Boychuk, who rides him away. Nick Leddy carving out of his own zone. Leddy snaps that pass right on target for Grabowski. Then Strome fires, jabbed away by Braden Holtby. We passed the top of the hour in D.C. with the NHL on Comcast Sportsnet. Strome on a counterpunch. And this is offside against New York.
Just a little misstep by Strome, by the far winger Kuhlman. That drew him offside. The Capitals and the fans going crazy. Grabowski back in the lineup. Hasn't played in over 2 months. Still has his speed. Probably trying to get his timing and his shooting and stick skills back here in his first playoff game this season. But obviously power up the middle. They tweaked the lines. They tweaked their lineup. Some healthy scratches for Jack Capuano here tonight.
Caps with their first 2-goal lead of the series. It comes in Game 5, trying to take a 3-2 advantage with them to Saturday's Game 6 at Nassau Coliseum. DeHaan, using the boards, failed to get it out. Burakovsky hoping for a rebound, and the ricochet is off of the rink for the whistle. With time, we go ringside for Al Koken. More discussion on the D and shots on cage.
Yeah, Joe, we talked about it in the first period. In the 2 Capital victors in this series, the Caps defensemen combined for 23 shots on goal and 6 points. Through 2 periods tonight, this group has combined for 12 shots on goal and 2 points. Both of those points coming off the stick of Carl Alzer. So active defensemen getting shots on the lack certainly have made a difference so far this evening.
Al, the fans must have known you were doing your report because they broke into the "We Are Louder" chant to egg on the Nassau Coliseum faithful, who were tremendous in games 3 and 4. Clutterbuck on the go. Tremendous with their support of their team, vocally we should say. It was noisy. Reinhart pumps this one right there, and Holtby makes the glove save in the cover.
Oh,
we get
now
a real commotion in front.
Yeah, Gleason involved, pushing and shoving with Clutterbuck. That line again causing a commotion. The referee does not have his hand up, and now he's bringing someone to the box. And he's bringing over Clutterbuck. We'll see if anybody else goes. This could be another power play unless they even it up here. The referee at center ice making the call. There goes Clutterbuck to the box, and he could be the only one going. Retaliation on the slash, and the Caps go to a power play. And here you'll see the play. Hard shot by Reinhart. He has got a cannon from the point. There's Gleason with Clutterbuck, and there's the two-hander across the leg. And then the Caps, and then Brooks Light gets shot, and then Gleason gets away with a cross check. Caps will take the power play to their advantage.
Sorry, Cal, have a seat while the Capitals fans get out of theirs. A chance to take this game by the throat now on the power play. Backstrom and Brouwer. These power play stats are packaged by the UPS store. Ovechkin winds, slap pass there. Halak got over and beat Johansson to the punch.
Pushing and shoving again in front, Hickey and Brouwer after that play. Love the way NHL players can make their feet move, get ready for the shot. That was a heck of a pass by Alex Ovechkin. About 40 feet across the rink, east-west, and he had to move his feet and get his stick ready to take that slap shot. Again, another sharp angle shot. Euro tonight, 27 saves against the Caps.
Johansson scoring against Halak in that Game 1 clunker for Washington, which gave the Islanders the advantage in the series. Stole home ice for a little while. Game 5 unfolds. Johansson in tight, great save. Follow-up chance, and Halak scurries over as Ovechkin was right there on the doorstep. It's Nielsen the other way, one-on-one. Big slapper to the chest of Braden Holtby. 90 seconds with which to work on the man advantage for Washington right now as Johansson zooms through center. Gets the attacking line, plays it to the point for Karlsson. This way Ovechkin, his chip shot pass blocked by Boychuk. Boychuk able to punch it back to center. Capitals will reorganize. Johansson cruising ahead. Ow. Almost threw Brower in ahead of the play. Halak will slow this down, play it on for Boychuk. He creams it along the boards, past Ovechkin in the full length of the pond. Clutterbuck serves another 52 seconds. Kuznetsov roaring through center. Yevgeny Kuznetsov goes into the glide, feeds for Ovechkin. Pounded around the wall, there's Green. Then Burakovsky. Andre Burakovsky passing lane for Ovechkin. Pressure comes from Leddy. Very aggressive penalty killing for New York. We've seen it all series long, and they win the puck and clear.
Well, they weren't having success about halfway through the season, playing a very passive penalty kill, and then all of a sudden they turned it up the last part of the season and into the playoffs. Very aggressive against the Caps here again tonight.
18 seconds in the man advantage. Niskanen shanked that one-timer.
That's his second one he's had there, Joe.
Ward drifts below the goal line. Joel Ward offers it, steps to the cage. Kuznetsov back for Ward. Cizikas read the play, and Casey Cizikas will get to center before Ward drops him. Quick up sends in Kuznetsov to his backhand. Score! Yevgeny Kuznetsov again.
Kuzi has been a highlight reel here tonight in Game 5. Has he ever stepped it up a notch? Second goal of the playoffs, second of the night. High fives all around. Casey Cizikas taken down by Ward. He doesn't get it in deep. How about that pass by Niskanen right on the tape, and a finish that is world class. Look at him protect the puck against the defenseman Boychuk, who has had a very strong game. Look at him lean in, Joe, with his right arm and right body, and then the deke is something special.
Capitals up 3. On their way, perhaps, to a 3-2 lead in this series. They have control over New York. The Kuznetsov goal comes 6 seconds after the Capital power play had expired. Yevgeny Kuznetsov, no points in the first 4 games. He's erupted tonight.
And there's the lean in, the protection, and just a soft little lay-in with the backhand. He opened up the pads of Halak. No chance for the goalie at that speed and that finesse that 92 possesses.
An all-star in the Continental Hockey League back home in Russia. Kuznetsov, as the season has progressed, has shown more and more of his immense talent. Islanders looking to respond here. Tavares blocked off by a sliding Beagle, who has 2 assists tonight. First 2 points he's ever authored against the Isles. New York in white. They'll be back home in blue for Game 6. Game 6 will come Saturday at the Coliseum. The time still to be determined, as well as the broadcast network. 7 minutes into period 3. Bailey waits. Slings that one over the shoulder of Holtby. The big rebound will trigger Backstrom away. Nicholas Backstrom coast to coast. Right on in. Halak stayed with him and forced it wide.
Well, tonight the Caps are the faster team, Joe, and that's a proof in point once again. The Islanders look fatigued. It looks like they have heavy legs, and the Capitals have been on their toes with light legs all night long here.
Backstrom will clear it in. Locker, it's punched away by Halak. Halak with 29 saves and counting, but the Capitals with the last 4 goals on the board and a 4-1 lead. Ward turns, spins, so good, twisting and turning along the wall. Ward leaned onto there by Boychuk, who fights it free for New York.
Well, Ward's been one of the best forwards. He can go right up there with Kuznetsov. The puck has gravitated to Ward, and he's had great puck protection here tonight under duress.
Kuznetsov failed to clear. The centering pass from Grabowski was poke checked there by Holtby. Rebound loose. Backhander came on through. Strome very dangerous at the doorstep. Niskanen hums it around the corner curve. It'll go all the way down, and the Capitals will be whistled here for icing.
Why not? They were under a little bit of pressure there by the Islanders. The Islanders trying to push back against Kuzi and company. Braden Holtby holding down the fort. Kuznetsov, a fabulous game. You know, at the mid part of the season, you know, the Caps are hoping that he would evolve into that second line pivot, and he has. As you look at his numbers, he's even Steven a couple of goals. From the second half on, he has looked more comfortable and more confident as one of the top pivots here in Washington.
Barry Trotz is going to ask for his timeout here, Locke, which allows us to tell you about the Capitals Budweiser Brewhouse all-inclusive payoff packs. Those playoff packs are moving fast. You purchase your pack for the upcoming games today. All you can eat and drink. They start an hour prior to puck drop. It runs through the second intermission. Why don't you visit WashingtonCaps.com to get yours?
Love it. On their feet here at Verizon Center during the timeout.
Thompson Creek with this window of opportunity wide open for Yevgeny Kuznetsov this evening.
If you're a hands guy, Joe, this is the guy you want. They call him the hands guys in football. Well, there he is in hockey. Just a beautiful play out of midair. The quick spin around transition. Niskanen to Kuzi, and he makes it look easy on our Thompson Creek window of opportunity.
Well, that was slick as a whistle. Yevgeny Kuznetsov, 22 years of age. The star is rising. Letty turns. The feed for Anders Lee. Poke check by Alex Ovechkin, who will scoop it on back with enough starch to be icing again against the Caps. Braden Holtby in the cage, guarding a 3-goal advantage. Jeep's going to show you the shots on net tonight, divvied up by period.
And you see the Caps' domination in the second really set the table against their goalie, 18-8 here in the third, now 6-4. They've outgunned the Islanders all 3 periods here on their home ice.
Face-off in the offensive zone for New York. Tavares couldn't win it. As Strait will venture back to play. Approaching the 9-minute mark of the third. Caps with 2 goals in this session. Strait will dump it in. Carlson will fetch. Around the wall for Chimera. Then to Kuznetsov. On the wing for Johansson off of his skates. Marcus takes straight to the board. Kuznetsov drives right in there to get the puck. Chimera pumps this one. Score! Jason Chimera!
They have shot sharp angle shots since the drop of the puck here in Washington. And one finally breaks through. Jason Chimera's got his second. Good forecheck, number 1. Again by Mojo. Mojo's going to kick it right to Brouwer, and he shoots immediately. And there is the goaltender already down playing knee hockey, Joe. There you see it. Vertical, horizontal, and the puck is behind that right pad. A goalie change being made by Jack Capuano as this puck squirts through the right side of the net. The fans are going crazy here in Washington.
That's all it takes. Jaro Halak's evening is through. Enter former Cap Michael Neuvert. 27-year-old Czech. We have affectionately been referring to him throughout the last week as the snitch or the informant.
Well, he's got a lot of things. He's got a lot of things up his sleeve. He knows his team very well. We told him that. He said, "What do you mean? What do you mean?"
Well, he's been giving all sorts of secrets about the Caps to his new teammates on Long Island. He's a snitch. 5-1. Capitals fans soaking it in now in Game 5.
And Wilson hurt. He got nailed in the side wall there and then got hit again.
Oh, and then
that's got to be a penalty right there.
Clutterbuck cheap shots him. That's nice.
He did that twice in that shift, and Willie's going to go after him. That should be a penalty. Doesn't look like they're going to call one.
Islanders putting up a fuss. 5-1 for Washington. Halfway home in the third. More to come on CSN. Tonight's game summary brought to you by the Night Point Systems. They offer the technology you need when you need it. Kuznetsov, gigantic for DC.
And the blue line chipping in. Alsner, Joe, be a goal and assist, and he's a +3. Hugs all around for all the boys in red. And way to go, Brooks. He's got his 10th career playoff goal right to the top shelf. The Caps have opened this game up here tonight.
Yevgeny Kuznetsov, late in the regular season, 12 points in the last 15 games. Washington earning second place in the Metropolitan Division, winning a head-to-head tiebreaker with these Islanders. These two teams each with 101 points. The Isles actually had more wins than Washington. These two tied up at 2 in this best of 7. Washington 10 minutes away from taking a series lead.
And I'm feeling that we could still have some fireworks here tonight.
Jay Beagle got hit up high. So you're thinking the Islanders will not go quietly.
Exactly. There could be some retaliation, some hard hits, especially by that Zizekas line.
Capitals heating up, as you can tell. Kuznetsov, look at the confidence here. Walking in on Neuwirth, and he pumped it wide.
Whoa, great counter hit.
Burakovsky flattened Leddy, embarrassed him there. To the corner. Everything going Washington's way right now.
Yeah, they just look tired. The Caps have worn them down. You know, that was the game plan coming in game 1, was to take the body, use their heavy size to their advantage, and maybe we're seeing it pay off here tonight because it's been a totally different game than we saw in both of those on the island.
It all adds up. Green back to get it. Franz Nielsen will give him a bump. Nielsen, who will turn 31 tomorrow. Anders Lee at center. On the go, Chimera. Green putters it into the corner. Straight, keeping an eye on Kuznetsov. 9 minutes and change to go in game 5. Off the rewind, Johansson there. Ward will tumble it right to Neuwirth. Michael 1-3-1 with the Islanders after his midseason acquisition.
Not a very good save percentage. Really struggled, you could say, since his arrival.
Capitals traded Neuwirth to Buffalo a season ago for Yaroslav Halak, the man who they've unseated from the goal tonight. Jack Capuano letting Neuwirth mop up in game 5. Carlson sprints to keep it in. South of the goal line, there's Boychuk. He'll heave it off the glass and out of play. Because it hit the glass, there's no delay of game. 8 minutes and 20 seconds from the winner's circle. Washington in control.
Game 5 certainly going the way of the Capitals with a 5-1 lead. As this series begins to heat up, it seems like the head coach of the Washington Capitals, Barry Trotz, gets calmer and calmer. I talked to Jason Chimera and Joel Ward yesterday about what that really means, and they both said that because Barry Trotz is so cool and collected on the bench, that the entire team follows his lead, that when things start to get crazy, when calls don't go their way, Trotz keeping calm lets the entire team keep calm, and guys, we're starting to see it. And Locker, to your point, remember early on in this playoffs, Barry Trotz said, it may not happen early in game 1, but a hit we can lay in game 1 may lay a foundation for something later on, and I think you're right on it. The Capitals' size have worn this Islander team down.
They're losing their cool too, Al. In the midst of your report, Matt Martin was hit with a 10-minute misconduct even before the play had resumed.
And then a slash right at the start of the play, and he's getting thrown out here. You'll take a look right at the right side of the screen, and then you'll see another Islander thrown out. Here comes Matt Martin in, and there's the slash right to Brooks Light. He's gone. Clutterbuck's now thrown out because he two-handed a cap off the Nets face-off. So the Islanders, 2/3 of that third or fourth line are gone. It looks like they're sending him in for an early shower.
Referee Chris Rooney wasn't going to put up with any of that as Wilson gets an earful from the Islander bench. Tavares will have a seat. Did they give Clutterbuck the boot?
Yeah, they did. Off another slash right off the face-off. The Caps have a power play because of it. Clutterbuck to the locker room. Tavares serves his 2-minute minor.
Oh, that's just fine.
Did I mention fireworks?
Fireworks.
Yes.
Power play stats packaged by the UPS store.
Number 15, Kyle Clutterbuck. 2 minutes for
Alex Ovechkin waiting for it along the boards. Ovechkin swats at it. Brouwer's pass to the front. They bump it back. Carlson unloads over the top of Neuwirth. Rebound. Backhand chance. Brouwer digging. It's still free. Still loose. Caps have the puck. And a power play for another 1:30. Ovechkin around the boards. All the way to point position. Carlson. 5 unanswered goals for the Washington Capitals after a Josh Bailey strike gave the New Yorkers the lead in the first. The Capitals have taken Game 5 in runaway fashion.
And maybe in the regular season you pull back a little bit on a power play when it's 5-1, but that's a no-no in the playoffs. You keep racking them up, you send the Islanders home thinking about what just happened and discourage them even more if they can get one on the power play.
Ward beats Strome to the loose puck. Kuznetsov gets in there, double team quickly. Burakovsky sweeps it along the baseboard. Ovechkin watching straight clear with the help of Cizikas, who has to be lonely now with Martin and Clutterbuck in the dressing room.
I'm not sure he's going to do much now.
Kuznetsov turns. Caps fans getting into it more and more.
And that's just frustration setting in for the Islanders, who've had a heck of a series. And this baby ain't over, Joe. I mean, you want Game 5 in a big way. The Caps have to realize they still have to go to the island for Game 6.
Oh, there's no room to rest.
No,
there you know
isn't.
The Islanders won't.
Nope.
On the stretch, Kuznetsov rockets one off the shoulder. Neuwirth with a follow-up save, too, on Brooks Lake.
Just about the hat trick. The Caps had a 2-on-1 there. Kuzi just lowers the boom, though. Doesn't think about passing there. Good save by Nuvi.
Reminder, folks, check your local listings. Your big boys and girls, you'll find where Game 6 is. It's at Nassau Coliseum. The game time and the broadcast networks are still to be determined. As Chimera clears in. A Thursday night around the NHL. 3 other first-round series are unfolding. Last check, Detroit and Tampa. The Red Wings continuing to give the Lightning problems.
Really?
Nyquist and Anderson on the board.
That's sort of a surprise.
2-zip last check. And
Wow.
Orpik will play it for Alzner, who ignited the rally for Washington. It was Alzner who gave them the lead in the second.
Is Oz good in that?
He's in the TV booth.
Yes, he is. Mrazek. Unreal, huh?
Yipper.
I don't think... what's the other goalie?
Ben Bishop?
No.
Jimmy Howard.
Jimmy. I don't think he's been the same since he got hurt right here at Verizon, Joe. I don't think he's recovered from that fully.
An early game injury against Washington in a matchup between those two. Brouwer was the beneficiary of the Ward injury. He wound up having a layup in front of the goal. Tonight, 1 in the first, 1 more in the second, 3 here in the third, and looking for more. Brouwer fires. Great save there by Neuwirth, showing his flexibility and his reflexes. Michael Neuwirth coming on for Jaro Halak here in the third period. Chip back through center. 4.5 to go. Big rally for Washington, taking the competitive charm of this game away. Setting the stage for a potential clincher for Washington on Saturday. Carlson will scoop it back. It'll dribble right to Neuwirth's doorstep.
The Islanders still pushing back, though. They know the importance of this last 5 minutes just as well as the Caps do. They want to leave out of here with anything positive they can get from this game, whether it's the last 5 minutes, last 2 minutes. The Capitals want to continue to play the way they have all game long to bring that confidence back to the island.
Bailey, sharp angle, way high over top of Braden Holtby. The Islanders, only Chicago with more shots on goal during the regular season. The Isles only have 21 tonight as the puck leaves the playing surface. We'll bring you on back for the final 3:46 at Verizon Center. I promise it'll be noisy on CSN. Donald's trivia from earlier tonight. Which of the 4 Caps defenders who scored double figures in playoff goals for this franchise?
Take a couple, Joe. Go ahead.
Sergei Gonchar, Kalle Johansson.
Aya Frady.
Oh, look at you sneaking
And
Big
Hatcher.
Allen there. Oh, look at you. Nicely done. Nicely done, 4 for 4.
How about Hatchie? 16, Joe B.
Big totals from a big man.
Man, was he ever up on the rush a lot for a big fella.
5-1 for the Caps tonight as Kuhlman's wrister is blocked. Capital defenders heavily involved in this effort tonight. On the goal sheet with the assists and playing stout defense in front of Braden Holtby. Capitals are 3 minutes and change away from taking a 3-2 lead in the series. Islanders will rev it up back through center. Kuhlman just trundles this into the corner. Matt Niskanen knows a thing or two about facing the aisles in the postseason. Did so with Pittsburgh a couple of years ago. Kuznetsov glides into the attack.
Pushing and shoving at the bench, Joe, and there's going to be a penalty doled out as the Islander player was caught right on the bench, and it was going to be a bench penalty. It's someone on the bench that grabbed his jersey that's going to get the call. He's calling him over now. Wasn't anybody, I don't think, on the ice.
From the bench, 2 minutes.
Frederick Lecuyer making the assessment. Hadid shows us the road ahead. Brooks Orpik is not pleased. Not much left in this series.
No, there isn't, Joe B. A couple of games left. TBD for the Saturday game.
It's a lot of information we're giving you.
Montreal Monday at the Caps. TBD.
Good.
CSN. We just don't know the time. If necessary, the bench stuff. Orpik got face washed, and then he hammers somebody. Watch this.
It's a really helpful graphic you just had on the screen.
There's the high stick from Grabo to Orpik, and then Orpik gives him a little shot and grabs him along with Greeny. And Orpik's going to be the one coming all the way over from the bench.
Stitches and all, Brooks Orpik, after getting that skate to the face accidentally from his defense partner, John Carlson.
Bad call there by the official.
Capitals are a man down, leading this by 4 with 2:55 to go in regulation.
Capitals penalty number 44, Brooks Orpik. 2 minutes for interference on the bench.
See if they can continue their marvelous penalty-killing run in this series. As Strome skips into the offensive zone, Niskanen shovels for Like. Like, one of the goal scorers tonight. Yevgeny Kuznetsov with a pair of tallies for the guys in red, who are 2.5 minutes away from a series lead. Leddy rolls back through center. On the wing to Oposo. Dead net for Strome. Tavares winds and fires. Missed it on the short side with a little help from Holtby. Bailey's speed, trying to get it to Strome there. Trickles back to the point. Tavares comes to call. Leddy fires. He whiffed on that. Strome captures. 2 minutes to go. Bailey started the scoring for New York. Since then, all Washington. Tavares. Bailey on a stuff. Holtby shuts that down. The billiard carom to the slot, and Ward says go away.
And the penalty-killing pairing so good for the Washington Capitals. They really garnered a lot of chemistry, and when they send out 2 guys, the next 2 guys are ready to go. Without Eric Fair, Nick Backstrom has played some on the penalty kill, and he hasn't missed a beat when he's been out there. Fair has been a big part of the Capitals' success when it comes to the penalty-killing unit.
Fair injured early in game 3. Working back through center. Boychuk will send it in. Niskanen and the Caps shorthanded another 8 seconds. On for Brouwer and then Niskanen. Failed to get it out. Nielsen on the drop. Grabowski closing. 1 minute to go. 1 power play shot for New York. Verizon Center is going to rise to its feet for the final minute. An excellent effort from the guys in the red sweaters on the ice and in the stands. Going to send the Capitals packing to Long Island with a 3-2 lead in the series.
Well, you can hear Barry Trotz talk about it. You know, he likes the fact that this is a hard series, and he has a lot of faith and confidence in this hockey team. The harder it gets, the harder they play. They like this type of challenge, and it showed tonight the way they played even after they got down on an early goal.
He's Craig Laughlin. I'm Joe Beninati. Al Kokens being your rinkside reporter. Shout out of thanks to all the men and women in our crew for their efforts. 14 seconds to go as Holtby will squeeze and hang on for one more draw. This evening's Washington Capitals Player of the Game, sponsored by the Palm Restaurant. We find Yevgeny Kuznetsov.
2 goals and assists, 3 points, 7 shots, plus 3, 2 hits. He's been wheeling and dealing from the drop of the puck tonight.
Folks, you can enter to be the Palm Fan of the Month at thepalm.com/fan. (5-1) for Wilson and the boys. Still chirping. Kuhlman lost the handle. Gleason gets it out. The Washington Capitals have the advantage in this best of 7. It's 3-2 after a 5-1 decision. Fans, remember, the Capitals win tonight. You get 50% off any online order tomorrow. PapaJohns.com. Make sure to use promo code CAPS50. Well-earned high fives there for Washington. They lead this best of 7. For Craig, for Al, for all the men and women in our crew, Joe Beninati, thanks for your time. Game 6 of the playoff series with the Islanders. It'll take place Saturday. The time and the broadcast network still to be determined. Folks, after the break, right after this commercial break, up next, Caps Postgame Live. It's Rob Carlin, Alan May, and Brent Johnson after the break.